Blog Talk Radio.
This is Girl George and the Dragons Radio Show, coming to you from sunny Berkeley, California, from your local Starbucks. Being my computer's down, we having to do it from over here. We're doing a remote stay, and my guest today is an old friend from the Missouri Lounge. Every week, well, not every week, when he's in town, he after the open mic, he plays guitar all night. We all sing along, which is my favorite thing to do down there. So here we go with the greatest musician in the whole world. We got Gray. Hello, Gray. What you doing?
Hey, how you
Gray?
doing, George? Nice to be on the air with you.
Oh, I'm just fine. Where are you at?
I'm up in Humboldt. And I live here half the year, and it's beautiful, hot, really hot today, about 100 degrees.
Well, it's pretty hot down here, too. Not 100, but it's pretty hot here, too. So how long have you been playing guitar?
Well, I started guitar in 1970-something. I was roommates with a guy, and he was playing something, and he didn't know how, so I just grabbed the guitar from him. I've never held a guitar before in my life, and I played at the right rhythm, and he went, oh, okay. So I realized I had some aptitude. And
so
since then I got a guitar.
Natural, huh?
Well, I was playing piano, and I took voice before that because I was in the church choir. Not that that was pertinent to what I do now, but it did help.
Well, it helps if you know what harmony is. Like, I can't harmonize. All I can sing is one certain thing. But you seem to be able to sing the lead or the harmony or anything else.
Well, when I was in choir, they had me singing alto, which is using your upper register and trying to make your upper register go down. And when you're doing rock and roll, you're trying to do the opposite. You might have noticed, people like Steve Winwood, John Young, they can push their lower register up really far. So I had to retrain myself.
Oh yeah, rock and roll is kind of grungier, kind of the dirty end of music. I'm good at it because I was born doing rock and roll. Rock and roll hit when I was 12 years old. Rock Around the Clock and Elvis and all that shit came out right then. Chuck Berry and Fats Domino. Little Richard. So you do house parties too?
Yeah, when I get invited to a house party, it's a chance to play for a long time, and other musicians will show up, and it turns into a jam, or at least a sing-along. And the fun thing is playing songs that people know.
Well, it was more fun when everyone's singing harmony. I like that. I always did like bringing everybody up on stage and letting them all do it together. That's my thing.
Yeah, and so that's what I like about the Missouri Lounge is because you and a few of the other people know how to sing harmony. And, it happens on stage too, but out in the back we can really let loose. That's really fun for me too.
On stage you only get 2 songs, so, it's a whole different thing. Out there we've got 2 or 3 hours to go from one song to another. And there's
That's
no
right.
microphone, so you don't have to fight over the microphone because there is no microphone. It's all just acoustic guitar and voices going wherever because they got that music pouring over us. So you have to pay attention.
Yeah, the only technical difficulties out there is if you drop your pick in your beer.
Yeah. Somebody dropped my ray gun the other night. When I had it out there.
No.
Somebody must have picked it up because it was broken. I had to glue it back together. Oh, well. That's what glue's for.
Does it work? That's an important accessory for you.
Oh, yeah. I used to have a sword, and now I got a ray gun. I got a whip in that purse, too, a little dagger. For somebody that's so anti-violent and anti-war as me, I am very into weapons. But no real. Well, I used to have a real gun. I used to pack a real gun. I used to pack a 32 for about a year, and then cops took it away from me. Oh well, I guess it was a good thing.
Oh. We don't get into any of that on stage, though.
You don't see any of that on stage?
Any of the gun shooting or sword wielding or any of that?
From me or from other people?
So far, nobody. I like it that way.
Well, there's this place I used to play at North Beach. I used to play at Gulliver's, and right across the street was the saloon, which has been there for years, the Blues Club, and they were shooting all over the place. They were ducking because there's big windows there. So they've had shootouts where I've been before. Place in Nashville, too.
Oh.
We used to hang out at the Pancake Man after hours, all the musicians, after the sessions, after the bars, and somebody brought out a gun, and everyone dived under the table. There were these big wrestlers, and they got a fight with some straight guy, and the straight guy put out a gun. But nobody got killed.
Oh, that's better.
Do you write music?
I've tried it. I was never happy with it, and I always had a good time playing songs that other people wrote, and there's no end to that. So I just keep on learning new songs that other people wrote. I probably know about 300
How'd you learn so
of them
many
by now.
songs? You know a bunch, How'd you learn so many?
Yeah. Well, I just never forgot them. The thing that was happening was, for years I didn't have any outlet, and I didn't go to jams or parties or open mics or anything. And then I started going to this, I belong to this group that has a retreat every summer. And the first year I went, there was a sing-along in the lobby, and suddenly I realized that I had an outlet, and so I started practicing and learning new songs, and that was in 1993. So it's really only been since then that this has really caught on for me. And so I would just learn songs and pick up the guitar whenever I was supposed to be doing something else and play a few songs. And that worked for me because sooner or later I'd get around to everything in my repertoire, and it didn't matter that I knew a lot of songs because I'd learned them all by then. So it's a hobby. I don't do this for pay. It's just something that I did to do something besides what I was supposed to be doing.
Where are you from originally?
Connecticut.
Connecticut? Oh, it's on the East Coast.
A long way from here. Yep, I hitched across the country in 1981 and landed here, and I've been here ever since.
So what kind of work did your mother and father do?
Mom didn't have a job during my whole life, but she was an environmentalist. She was actually doing that before it was fashionable. And Dad worked in publishing. So he was a writer, and before I was born, he was a teacher of English. So that's where I get all my English skills, mostly from having English spoken correctly around the dinner table. I didn't have to take a single college English course. I don't know how I got away with that. They managed to graduate me without it.
You're heavy into the environmental too, aren't you?
Well, in college, that was what I studied. and I took a sort of a systems approach to it. So I'm interested in design, so I got into resource management and energy and computers, environmental law, and then finally after school I got into permaculture, and so yeah, I try to involve myself in that whenever I can, and I've been an arborist since I got to California, and I don't get much opportunity to practice anything but just tree work, but when I do, it's kind of interesting for me and for the clients to be able to talk about something that they don't really think about. They're just trying to keep their trees in shape.
So you're a tree
That's my
surgeon,
day job.
huh?
Yeah.
You're a tree
surgeon?
surgeon?
Yeah, they used to call it tree surgeon, and now we call it arborist. It's the same thing.
Uh-huh. So you have any brothers and sisters?
I do. My sister lives in Connecticut, and she's doing well. She's got 3 kids, two of whom are living out here in California now, across the bay. One of them is married with kids. The other one just graduated business school at Stanford, and the youngest one is over in D.C. And I've got a couple of half-brothers. They're pretty spread out. One of them's in Seattle, and the other one's in Florida. I don't see too much of them.
So these house parties you play at, how do you find out about them?
Well, it's a big extended community in the Bay Area of musicians. We all know each other, and it only takes one opportunity on someone's part to create the opening for somebody else to come in and play, and so that's how it usually happens. With the party that I went to in February, it was a house party. It's a neighbor, and it was a housing cooperative. And since I was living in a co-op for many years, we got to know each other for political reasons, and I've been going back ever since to play their house party. And then there's other friends who have parties and want me to come and play. Mostly it's jams.
So,
jams are the fun thing.
So
it's
do
where
they have
everybody gets
food
together.
and everything? Do they have food and everything?
Oh,
Is it like a barbecue? Yeah.
Well, yeah, when it's a house party, I'm usually not expected to bring anything. That's kind of a plus, but because I'm not that great of a cook. But yeah, with the potlucks, the jams are all potlucks, and I don't know. The standards are low enough that I don't feel intimidated.
So how many people are at these parties? How many people are at these parties?
Well, the one I went to February was probably 35, 40 people, and I couldn't tell because they were all inside and outside and upstairs and down and coming and going. So, it's like that. In the room with me at one time, probably maybe 10 or 12. And, I'm not the only thing going on. I'm just in there having a good time, and people join and come and go. That's how it works.
So there's not a mic. You just sit around in a circle and just sing like we do at the Missouri.
Yeah, it's like sitting in a living room with a bunch of friends. That's just what it is, actually. Sitting and me playing, and I'm just leading the songs. Everybody else is singing too.
So how long have you been playing in the Missouri Lounge?
I started there 5 years ago, so I came in on the 5th anniversary of the Missouri Lounge, and we're up to 10 years now. I found out about that from Greg Shell. He'd been going for a while, and for a long time I didn't know when it started. I just kind of ambled in around 8 o'clock, and there wasn't a long list. Now it's so popular that if you don't show up by about 7:15, you might not get to play. Which is good. It's a great place. And Paul really keeps it crisp. He's got a really easygoing style, but when it comes your turn, he's on you. He makes sure that you're ready, and he guesses you if you're not ready or if you're out of tune. So he cracks the whip, but it's kind of good that way because otherwise people would just be kind of, I don't know, too crazy.
They take an hour setting up and tuning up and stuff. And you got time for that when you got all those people. You got all those people going on. You got to keep it going, keep it on going. Have you ever run an open mic yourself? No, I never did that. That's another thing that other people can do really well, and I never felt like I had to. But I've been to a few different ones. They're all different. You know, the host makes it what it is more than the venue does. Host sets the pace. I've run open mics for years.
Yeah.
Way back in the
Right, I've been to your open mic.
I used to be a host at the Starry Cloud for 8.5 years. With Joe, and we were co-hosts there. And the Stork Club for about 8 years. So I like running things. I do this radio show now. But my favorite thing you do is to sing with you. In the back there.
Yeah. Well, you know, you've got a lot of spirit, so you put a fire under whatever's happening, and you certainly do that for me. When I get back there, you're always making requests and telling other people to shut up and stop smoking cigarettes and blowing it in our faces. I like that.
Well, I try to get everyone to sing along too. You know, even the straight people that are just sitting there trying to ignore us, I'll drag them into it.
Yeah, right. Although I don't see how they can help getting involved. You know, we're just having such a great time. Yeah, that's the nice thing about that is it's a bunch of young people, and there's no pressure for them to get involved. And if they want to, they can, and if they don't want to, they're just out there doing their own thing.
The people that play there are pretty eclectic. We had a clown group come in a couple of weeks ago. Did you see them?
The clown group? No, I wasn't there for that.
Oh, yes, you had left. Well, I'm going to have them on the show next week. They were clowns, not bombs, you know, and they did comedy skits and stuff. They were real funny.
I love it when I'm in town. I get to play at the open mic. It's a blast, and it doesn't hurt that there's a pool table there, too.
Yeah. You ever play at the Starry Cloud?
A long time ago I did. Yeah, I mean, we're talking 15, 20 years ago. There was a guy running the open mic then.
Yeah. Who that was, Saul? His name was
too
Saul?
long ago to remember his name. Yeah,
that's who it was.
Could have been.
So what do you have coming up in the future? You have any gigs coming up, or just coming back and playing at the Missouri Ranch?
Well, let's see. It's a good question. I'm going to be out of town a lot this summer, and I don't know when I'm going to be back at the lounge. It's kind of hit or miss. I am coming back to the Bay Area, but not on a Wednesday. I'm actually going to be coming down for a family event next weekend. But you know what? It could happen anytime. Let's just keep people guessing. Tell them to come whenever and take their chances.
Is there anywhere to play up there?
You know, it's interesting. I just got asked to be sort of the anchor at the open mic at the Garberville Theater open mic. It's Tuesdays at nominally 6 o'clock, but it's Humboldt time, so people generally don't do anything on time up here, and so it might happen by 7:30, or maybe people will show up, maybe they won't. They always say, "Oh yeah," and then good luck if it ever happens, right? That's Humboldt.
Yeah. So you'll be running it or just being playing there?
No, another guy's running it. He's a really good sound guy, like Paul. And it's pretty good equipment because it's a real theater. No, I'm just going to play. There weren't a lot of people. It's hard to get people to come in from the backwoods. and dust themselves off and pull out their instruments. But there are some pretty good musicians back up here, right in the community where I live. Yeah, there's actually a few people that are part of a band, and they played at a fair last weekend right here. They're good. They're called the Non-Prophets. Well, it's Prophets, Prophet.
Well, you can be instrumental in bringing them all together at your new open mic thing that you play at. So sure, they're out there. Men are dragging them in.
They're trying to make money. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some up there that just play for recreation and have other means of support. So, just drag them all down there. And you can start a Missouri Lounge up there.
It'll be different. I'm telling you, it's kind of the same distribution of craziness, from one end of the spectrum to the other. But it's just, as I say, most of the people up here just kind of stick to their backwoods cabins, and you don't get to see them very often, except when you run into each other in town.
Well, it's up to you to bring them together. That's what musicians do, bring them together.
That's the idea. That's the idea.
Over me. We got 5 more minutes. 5 fucking minutes till the show is over. So what do you want to talk about, my dear?
What I wanted to say was that, if anybody else has this as a hobby, or just wants a hobby and they have some musical aptitude, it's great. I mean, I never thought about playing guitar until I was 20. And it just kind of grows on you. And the thing about guitar is, for some reason, the chords are a lot easier to figure out than they are on piano. I had a hard time with piano and a much easier time with guitar. And there's no looking back. I mean, I could still play piano if I had to, but I don't know, guitar just works much better for me. So anyway, I just want to encourage people, if they've got any kind of a wish to get up on stage and get crazy for people, it's a great thing. It really is fun, and you're not the only fool up there. There'll be other people up there just as foolish as you.
Yeah, you meet all kinds of other people just like you that like to play music and sing, write songs. So open mics are great. You can find everybody that you
you get to find your tribe.
You got something in common with, and you can sing, and you can play music, and you can learn other stuff, and meet all kinds of fun.
And as I say, wherever you are, you'll form a community. It'll just come together. You'll find all the people that are doing it.
Yeah. I played guitar for about 40 years, and my hands don't work anymore because I'm an old lady. So now I just sing. But I used to play guitar for years and years.
That's funny in your case. Anybody who doesn't know really ought to give themselves that experience.
Yeah, I miss the guitar. But then since I don't play guitar, I've become a much stronger front man because I have to. It's just me and the mic now.
Well, it's hard to imagine you any other way, George. You're a powerhouse up there. You don't even need a ray gun.
So you'll be down here and when we'll see you when we see you, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I looked at my calendar just now, and it's really, I can't say. I don't know.
Okay, we're out of time, my dear. This was Gray Shaw we're talking to. You can find him on Facebook, and you can find him down at the Missouri Lounge in the back playing all night when he's in town. So this is Girl. Thank you for calling, baby. Say bye.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, this is Girl George in the Dragons Radio Show saying, see you later, alligator.